That big handsome man, huh?
When I was growing up, everywhere I went, everything I did, I had a dog with me.
Oh, don't be afraid.
I wanted to be a veterinarian since I was 5 years old. That's the only thing I ever thought about doing.
Good boy, come here, come here, come here.
I always tell people I get to go to work with 30 of my very best friends every day doing something we both love to do.
They're pretty high energy right now, aren't you? Huh?
You get to watch them develop just like kids, you know? And it's my job to help them develop their strengths, minimize their weaknesses, and release their potential.
Let's go!
Wait. People first came to Alaska tens of thousands of years ago. They came with their dogs, and their dogs were important to their livelihood. Not just for transportation, but for warmth, for protection. And then when contact with Western civilization occurred, Alaska was literally opened up by dog teams. I mean, we have a state that's 1/3 the landmass of the lower 48. There were no railroads when Western contact first happened. There were no roads, there were no vehicles. Really, the only means of transportation was by dog team. You know, life with dogs was what structured life in rural Alaska. People fished to provide food for the dogs, and they used the dogs to get their livelihood. And then sometime in the 60s and 70s, the first snow machines started to show up in rural Alaska. And the need to have dogs for transportation went away.
Good morning, folks. This is Caesar. Just wanted to make a quick announcement about today. Arleigh Reynolds is a vet. He runs the vet program at UAF, here to offer support to the Frank Atla dog program. Copy?
It gets their immune system stronger, so they're more resistant to getting sick. Wilson, how many dogs are we going to vaccinate today?
15.
15, okay. The younger generation of people in rural Alaska, a lot of them haven't learned the traditional ways. And so the communication between the elders and the young people has not been as good.
The teachers in our schools, most of them come from the lower 48. We're learning about things that are from, 1,000 miles away. And we don't really learn about our culture. People need the dogs just as much as the dogs need them.
When that type of lifestyle started to go away, it caused a problem because they didn't grow up with dogs and they didn't grow up with that structure in their lives.
We've had to deal with depression and suicide, and those are really, tough things to face. And so one of the things that we do is to keep people busy. And that's where these dogs come in so wonderfully.
It's a good idea to put your hands on the dog too, okay?
It's like giving a calm sense to them. By doing that, I think they can learn there's something else I can do besides, do something drastic.
I knew George Atla for almost 30 years. He was an icon in the sport. He was the winningest champion of all time.
George Atla is
When he retired, he moved back to his home village of Huslia. he saw some things there that bothered him and how the young people were kind of disconnected.
We went to see the man who's been living dog mushing for a long time, the Hooslia hustler, George Antler.
He said they had no sense of pride or self-esteem, and that is something that dogs had done for him as a young person.
You guys have a really wonderful program going on here. You guys are the heart and soul of it, though. You are the reason why that program exists. I knew your Grandpa George really well, and I learned so much from him. Never would have been a champion if I hadn't worked with your Grandpa George.
George Antler exemplifies the spirit and tenacity which has always been associated with the state.
He got this program, this youth program going that's centered around working with dogs to bring the elders and the school and the youth together, working as a unit, and it was incredibly successful. George knew that the finish line was coming quicker than he wanted it to, and he felt like he still had a lot of work to do. So I promised him that I would do everything I could to help keep it going.
Perfect. You want to mix it all up and get all that powder dissolved? Okay.
Oh, powder?
Yeah, there's powder in the brown tube. And then when you've got that drawn up, put your cover back on.
Yeah, I started noticing that the kids were super excited once they started in this program. You know, they would go home and they would be talking like miles a minute about, you know what I did today in the dog yard? By putting them out in the dog yard, they get hands-on actual work that they have to do, and they learn that work ethic. And so they get to experience that. They talk about it, and I think it just brings a wellness to them that otherwise is not there.
The youth and the elders started hanging out more and spending time with each other. Everyone got together to, you know, talk dogs and work with dogs, and it was a really good community activity. You know, we're one team.
Howdy, folks. You might know that Arleigh is, yeah, he's pretty famous. He's won the Ferrandi and the North American many times.
I always was my dream to come to Hooslia because of so many great dogs that came out of this village. It is truly a thrill for me to be here and to meet all you and to see what you're doing with this program, which I think is amazing. And I had the privilege of working with George a little bit with this and would very much like to continue to work with the school here and help you in any way that I can.
I didn't get to say goodbye to George when he died, and that was always really hard. And this has helped me manage that in my own heart. Visiting Hooslia this last week and seeing everybody be so supportive of this program and to see the positive changes dogs have brought back to that community.
Thank you for everything, listen.
It reinforced everything in a real way. You know, we don't have many communities left like Hooslia, you know, an off-the-road community that's actually growing, a place that, you know, that really was struggling before and now is doing really well.
I'll turn the first group loose. I'll run back with Cosmo myself. Okay. All right, and then if you guys can start harnessing them.
I love Alaska, and I have learned so much from my elders, and particularly my Alaska Native elders, who have taught me a lot about dog mushing and taught me a lot about life through dog mushing. It's a great metaphor for life, it really is.
Okay, we're good to go.
I think who you are with your dogs is who you are in life. Whether we live in Manhattan or off the road system in Alaska, there's a primal relationship there that makes us the best we can be and also makes the dogs the best they can be when we get to experience it together. And I don't want to see that go away.
Click like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell.
Thank you for watching.